But I think it's also a good thing too when you're a podcaster.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to do this like if you didn't have anything to say, you know?
Exactly. And we got a lot to talk about today. Yeah. You another podcaster in the building. So I'm with John here. John has his own podcast. He's out of South Jersey like I am. We found each other through social media, and we found each other through a mutual friend, Eddie Hamilton, who was a previous guest. If you haven't seen the interview, go check it out. But John, tell the people why you're here and what you do that brought us together, essentially.
Cool. Yeah. So I met you through Eddie, who I just so happened to meet. Awesome dude. Shout out to him. And I saw that because I was surprised when I asked him to do my podcast. I thought he might be a little off, like not thrown off guard, but might be like, oh, like that's interesting. Like I've never really done that. And then I come to find out he has done that before, and it was on your show. So I'm like, oh, no way. Like that's awesome. And like I reached out to you. We kind of just started going back and forth. And yeah, that's how I ended up here. But yeah, I'm the host of Eggcast with John Egger. You can find it anywhere that you could find podcasts: YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud. You can find it all out there. If you follow me. If you look up John Egger on Instagram and follow me, you'll find like, you know, all my updates for like just like projects and things like that. And yeah, I mean, I kind of started it with like the same goal you had in mind. I'm not as I know you're very like sports influenced, and a lot of the like media and a lot of the things you do will be around like different athletes, and like I think that's so awesome. Like I saw you were interviewing people from like the from the Super Bowl. That was really cool. What was your experience like with that? Did you get a little starstruck when you were doing those?
I wouldn't say I got starstruck. I'd say it was more like there was like I feel like it was crazy because I never thought I would be there, especially this fast. Mm-hmm. You know, like
yeah, absolutely.
22, like you're not supposed to be, or that's what it's pointing out. You're supposed to be in school right now. You know,
yeah.
To be in college, and I was like,
I thought it was funny when I was watching them because it's like. You're getting introduced like you're one of those like just like the typical reporters you'd see, like sports reporters. Not that you're not, because you are, but I could tell that you were kind of like you were just like, oh my god, like yo, I'm talking to Tom Brady, like, or who did you talked to a few people on the Bucs, right?
Yeah,
from the Super Bowl team.
Yeah, LaShawn McCoy, Mike Evans. I talked to a lot of people, but those are the ones I uploaded, and I talked to a lot more in Todd Bowles. Okay,
I'm a huge Shady McCoy fan, so I'm a little jealous. You know what I mean? Like I love watching him, you know, coming up and everything, playing for the Eagles, and then when he went to the Bills. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his.
So you're all Philly fan all around then?
Yeah, pretty much. I was born and raised in South Philly, so not raised like all my whole life, but like I lived there for about like 5 years, and then I moved over to South Jersey. So I've always been a Philly fan, tried and true. You know, Flyers, Eagles, Sixers, Phillies. And yeah, I thought it was so cool. Like when I saw what you were doing, and I saw you were interviewing these guys, I'm like, no, like I was like, no way, like, you know, like, and then I started kind of looking in, like, oh, you're doing like some other podcasts and stuff, and I thought that was cool. I got to reach out to this guy.
Yeah, and that's what I found cool, because you know, when you reach out to me, I was like, wow, like, you know, like it caught someone's eye, like, or it showed like interest, and for like for you to want to even be on, or for like hopefully one day for me to come on your show, because I feel like there's so many people that like want to do podcasts, and you never know who's doing what, especially like within your area. And I was like, wow, like this is dope. And start seeing you, and saw you interviewed Eddie, and you also interview people who can do music and stuff like that. Where did your like mind like first start in saying like, hey, like I could do this? Like, did you always feel confident in like doing interviews with people?
I think so. I think I was a little like off put by it at first, and like I didn't know I was kind of off put by like how I thought other people might react. But when I think back to it, even before I even had the idea of starting a podcast, like, put it this way, I'm not good at many things, but what I have something that has always aided to me, or something I've always enjoyed, is talking. Okay. And like not saying I've always been like that super outgoing, like whatever, because like I really consider myself like kind of a shy person, but I think like having to talk and like having to just like go out and like meet people, and like a lot of times when I was younger and in school and stuff, I would just get so bored that I would just be like, the whole class, I would just start talking to like the whole class, and like some teachers of mine didn't love that, because sometimes I would undermine their classes a little bit and turn it into like my own like little show or like holding court, you know.
Yeah.
But like I always had that thing where like whether someone was talking to me or whether everyone was ignoring me and I was just like blabbering to myself in circles, like I've always been interested in talking, and like it was an idea that just kind of came along naturally, you know. And like I've always like I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I kind of had this like lane of like, all right, well, I first like I'm going to school for writing. I got into writing. I'm like, oh, like it would be cool to start writing things. And then like I've always been into comedy, and you know, all successful comedians, especially in 2021, have a podcast. And that's not my motivation behind starting it, but it's definitely part of it, because I knew like if you're gonna be into comedy and like you're gonna keep going with this, you have to have like a platform where people can see you, you know, and like and listen to you without actually being at a comedy club and in a stage, especially because it's a lot different of an environment and of an art form, because comedians go up there and it's like you do your material and it's like that takes, you know, that takes a lot of knowledge and like a certain personality and stuff. But to me, podcasting is a whole different thing, because more than anything, more than what your show's about, more than what your niche is or what you guys do, the reason people love podcasts so much is because they feel like they build a relationship with the audience, you know. And
Exactly.
like you really have to be yourself. Like I haven't had this experience that really, but you don't want to ever do a podcast and go on as like this character or someone you're not, because people will see right through it.
That. Yeah. Exactly. And that's another reason why, like we were talking about earlier downstairs, is a lot of things just started to fall through the first time around. I guess you can call it like the test trial, sort of say, because you know, you have people doing things they're not used to. It's not in your norm. It's not up your field. You know what I'm saying?
Me, sorry.
No, you're fine. It's it wasn't something that it wasn't everyone's up their alley in their field, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for you, it's like you could see, like you have that gift of gab, like you have that ability to be able to talk and
I appreciate
talk to
that.
people and like open up and kind of like make people comfortable to talking to you. Because like, hey, before this show, John's giving me huge advice on how, like things I could do to boost my podcast.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, dude, that's what we got to do for each other though. Like I just went on my buddy's show last night, Angry Algorithm, shout out to them, and we were kind of talking about the same thing, like and like my buddy Livy, who I had on my show, the Thuggery, like she's a musician, but we were talking about kind of the same things, like as far as like entertainers go, especially around here, because we're not in New York, we're not in Los Angeles, like a lot of us are like younger, or if we're not yet as young, like we're still like up and coming and kind of like building something new. Like the only way that like we're all going to be successful is by helping out each other, you know. And like that's kind of the beautiful thing about the podcast community, is that you don't see a lot of like competition or like people trying to like outbest other people like you might see in other areas, because people have to compete. Like the thing about podcasts is that if one podcast is successful, yours will be too, you know, especially if you're working with those people together,
back and forth. Exactly. Yeah. You're in the mix together.
That's why I think all those huge podcasts and like comedians and people out in like Los Angeles and like in that area do well, because they all kind of created this community together.
Yeah,
you know.
And that's like one thing that was crazy for me. I don't know about you, like stepping into like the podcast field. Like for example, like I did the test run, and close friends know about this, a test run 3 years ago, but then really started back up in November of last year. It's like you really start to build where people like will interact with you, comment like, hey, when are you making your new video? Or like people give you actual feedback. And like I always thought that was such a surreal thing, where people are like investing their time in their day to like watch my material or content that I put out, you know?
Yeah, people actually care, and like it's so cool. That's what keeps me going, man, I'll say, because like it's hard when you first start, and I'm sure you've had this experience. When you first start, you kind of feel like you're doing it in a vacuum, like nobody's really listening or caring. And I've learned now, like just from these first 2 years, like it hasn't gone anywhere huge, but I've learned to just appreciate like what you get and who you have that's interested. Because the fact that anybody likes my picture, or the fact that anybody listens to my show, like even if it's just one person, is enough and like worth it to keep doing it, you know. And like it's one of those things, like it also whether you want to start a podcast or whatever you want to start doing, a podcast is a great example of something that like you have to stick with for yourself, because usually when you start it, especially in nowadays how it's like a cliche for like everybody to have a podcast.
Oh yeah,
you know?
everyone out of nowhere
Yeah.
just decided,
Hey. Oh, let's start a podcast, you know.
Yeah.
And like it like it can be hard at first because you might think people might like, you know, see it and like laugh it off, or like, you know, laugh at you, be like, oh, that's dumb, whatever. But then you know, 50 or 100 episodes later, they're like, they could be like your biggest fan. So like it's one of those things. I think, you know, like I understand people's relationship with haters, and like I understand like haters aren't always the nicest people, but I don't think people's motivation should be to like get back at the haters, or to like say like I told you so to the haters. I think like your biggest motivation should be make your haters your fans, you know, because once they're your fans, like they can't deny that, you know, you have a talent and that you have something that's, you know, worth talking about, you know?
Exactly. I love to say the people that don't want to see you fail the most are the always ones that keep watching you.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I always looked at that as, okay, once I get your eyes to keep coming in, whether you really just don't like my show or not, like I kind of made you a fan at that point, you know?
Exactly. And like people, like you see that a lot with like controversial, whether it's musicians or you see it with like, you know how it is, like the YouTube or the TikTok stars. It's like they'll have enough like of their like natural fans, whatever, and then there'll be like just as many people saying like under their Instagram or under their YouTube post, like this guy's so stupid, like this is dumb. It's like you're only making him or her or whoever more famous, you know, like you're only helping even more. So like I think that's the thing. If you want to be in entertainment, or you want to do something, you want to do something that requires you to have like an audience and fans, don't let people discourage you, because the people that discourage you, like you said, are A, they're probably the ones watching your show the most, and B, like your goal should be not only to like fail like what they want to happen per se, but like make them fans, because like once you make your haters fans, now
everyone's a fan.
Yeah, everyone's a fan. Exactly.
Yeah, and that was such a huge thing for me at the beginning, because until like I had like a learning path, like that curve where like you kind of build that backbone and that thick skin where it's like, all right, I'm gonna put this material out and like not care what people are gonna say, because like there was times like, especially during the trial runs.
Yeah, when you first started.
When I first like started and we made a few episodes and put it out, like I was scared what people are gonna say, and like you get nervous because I wasn't really confident. I wanted to do this.
It's nerve-wracking. It's very you're very vulnerable, especially with a podcast, because there's not really like, if you're doing like a character, that's one thing, or if you're kind of doing like a even like the interviews that you were doing with athletes and things like that's still nerve-wracking because you're talking to those people, but it's kind of like you already have the questions, you know, you're gonna ask, and like you kind of have like a little bit of a structure to it, and people are gonna, no matter what, people are gonna think it's cool because like it's like somebody like, you know, notable you're talking about. But when you come on, you know, like whether it's by yourself or it's with someone that you don't like, that people might not know so well, the first thing people are going to do is just because of the society we live in today, like first thing people are going to do is try to like, you know, find fault with it, or find something to be like, oh, this is so odd, or this is so strange.
Exactly.
But sometimes that's like a good start to like get people interested in your stuff, you know, like it kind of can help things snowball. But yeah, I had that experience too, like posting like the first few episodes of being like I feel weird, like what are people gonna think about this, like blah blah blah, like, you know, like are people gonna like laugh at me for like having, but then I just realized I'm like, you know, because I did the same thing. I did a trial run like about like a year before I started, and like never put it out anywhere, and just kind of kept contemplating on the idea and thinking about it, and eventually it started, and I kind of got to that point where I feel like it really took me that time to become confident enough to say, hey, you know what, like I know this is what I want to do, and I know even if I'm starting at one now and it seems silly to people, like someday they'll understand, you know.
Right, exactly. My bad. I completely cut you
No,
off
no,
there.
no, not at all, not at all.
Continue. What were you saying?
Oh no, go ahead. I was.
Oh yeah, because like listen to what you're saying. Like to me, I was like, I used to be scared of this thing, but then I realized it's the growing process.
Exactly.
You know, like
exactly.
I started here, and I remember my stats like to this day, because like I never thought. You hope you grow, right? You hope you gain more of an audience.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like, things get better for your show or whatever it is you're doing. That's what anyone, whether you have your own business, whether you have, whether you're an athlete trying to become a professional, like Eddie's trying to go for the NFL, like you're a pro, but you're trying to be NFL. You always want your thing to be like as best as it can be.
Yeah, you always want to improve.
Exactly. I remember like it was yesterday when I created the Prime Media page back in like 2017 or something. I had like 81 followers, and it was supposed to be just a sports show, and I would take screenshots whenever I found something that happened and try to be like someone to comment about it really fast, thinking I would bring people to my page. And I was like, this isn't working. Entered we're in 2021. I entered 2020 with 84 followers on my Instagram page, and I was at like 50 subscribers on YouTube. And then from there, 1 month in, I'm at the Super Bowl. Not at the physical game, but like in the area doing like covering,
doing
like
press,
exactly. And shout out to NFL alumni for that opportunity, and Aaron Beasley, who kind of put me in motion for that. And then after that, it snowballed from there. People start coming to my pages more, listen to my content more. Then I connect with another gentleman who's like my mentor now, Fago Franklin III, and he's put me in a position to interview the athletes I just did for the Super Bowl. But like looking back in like a quick year, 2019, I sat down in November 27th, created a YouTube page, said we're going to make this YouTube. I'm going to start uploading content as consistent as I can. 2020 comes, February, we're at the Super Bowl. Keep it moving. We did a couple events with friends, sports camp. Got to talk to some upcoming athletes and stuff like that.
Nice,
just kept snowballing, or not snowball. I guess you call it snowball, but it's like growing from there. Now the page quickly hit over 100 followers and stuff like that on Instagram. It's getting more interactive, and that's always like what you want to see. And it was like basically what you're talking about. It's like it's just all about that growing process, Yeah,
and that growing process, I feel like a lot of people forget. It comes with growing pains, I heard somewhere back when I watched a bunch of videos when I started, and just like, how it is when you get into YouTube videos, and like I was watching something about like how people start podcasts, and somebody said that like episode 7 is like the biggest hump for podcasters to get over. Like a lot of podcasts won't go past 7 episodes because they're too obsessed with the wrong things. They want instant, especially in today's society and like the way we are with phones and just people blowing up overnight. Like where everybody wants that instant gratification, and it can be hard when like it really depends what seems like a reasonable number to you. That's why in my head I'm like, if one person listens, it's worth it. Like if no one listens, I know at least I put it out. If one person listens, it's worth it. And like for some people, when they start their show or they start their project or say they start their small business, it's not enough motivation for them to only have a few listeners or a few customers,
right?
Like they feel like they want it now, but that's just not life. Like like that's people who get discouraged easily and say like, oh, they want the feeling of that success and that fun like now, but they don't want to put in the time to get there. It doesn't work that way, man.
Yeah,
it's
facts.
really like it really is like the tortoise and the hare kind of like it's baby steps.
Oh,
and
100%.
And like when I first start, that's kind of what I've been trying to tell like certain people I know will be like, oh, I want to get into YouTube, but like I don't know what I want to talk about, I don't know what I want to start with. I told them, I was like, just start. Just put the camera in front of you and figure out what you're gonna do. You might not be like, when you first start, like you might not get any views, your video might not have quality editing, you might not really have a great beat, but you have something. Like something is the way. Like a lot of the like anybody who's making a full-time living on YouTube has easily put out 500 videos, if not more, because it took time to get there. Like same way with anything. I mean, like think about all the podcasts that you love to listen to personally, did you start listening at episode 1?
Oh no,
Most times not. If you did, it's because those people were already popular from another show they did,
right,
or something.
And you gravitate,
exactly,
or someone puts you on,
exactly, and it just takes time, and and also it's one of those things where I don't care how nervous or introverted you are, because I'm the same way. Even though some people have depending on who I meet, have considered me they'll say oh man, you're so out there, you're a social butterfly. I don't feel that way. I feel like an introvert. I feel like a shy, quiet person, but I realize that if I want to do something, I have to push myself out of my comfort zone, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure if you asked me to do this show 6 months ago or a year ago, I'd be there's nothing worse than when you start making those excuses in your head for the reason why you shouldn't do something. That is the key. That will lead to failure.
Yeah.
You gotta like you said. You were talking earlier. You said you're a yes man, or you like to be a yes man.
Mm-hmm. I was definitely that guy.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, and sure, you can't say yes to everything. You have to have some judgment, but especially when it comes to if you want to be in entertainment, if you want to be a podcaster, if you want to do anything like this, you have to be a yes man or a yes woman, yes person. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to jump out of your comfort zone and say yes to opportunities.
Yep.
Even when I did my buddy's show last night, I knew my one friend, but I'm meeting the other person for the first time cold, and then kind of how we are today. So it's there's nerves that come with that, because you're nervous about coming on and screwing up. You're nervous about about what if the conversation goes over awkward, what if it doesn't read right? There's all these things you could think about,
mm-hmm.
but at the end of and this could go for life. What if I don't get this job interview? What if I ask her out, or I ask him out and she doesn't like me, he doesn't like me, blah blah blah. It's true for all the aspects of life, that there's going to be doubt, and there's going to be that little voice in your head telling you the reasons why you can't or you shouldn't do something. But at the end of the day, you just have to do you have to listen to your gut and your intuition, and the voice that tells you that you can do it. And I truly believe that if you say you want to do something, but for some reason you're not, because you're not putting in the work, or because you're doubting yourself, either you just straight up actually don't want to do it, or B, you're just not ready yet, and that's okay. You don't want to do something you're not ready for, but you just want to make sure that you give yourself a chance, because if you all you're thinking about all the time is the reasons you can't do something, you're failing before you even give yourself a chance. Yeah, exactly. There's a difference between I was talking about this on my show the other week. There's a difference between failing and what was I saying? It was failing and just giving up. Because giving up means you didn't try at all, and you gave yourself reasons why this would be bad, or you failed and then you didn't go back. But there's nothing wrong with failing. Failing is effort. Failing is trial and error. Yeah, exactly.
It's a part of the process.
And learning. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's plenty of episodes that I've recorded that were great that I lost because of tech issues, or just because I didn't know what I was doing. There's times where
you ain't the only one, brother. Hey, you ain't the only one.
There's times where I would bring people in where I thought, oh, this is going to be an amazing show.
Mm-hmm.
This will be so funny. And it made them whether they were uncomfortable or I was uncomfortable, it just didn't go over well.
The way you planned.
Yeah. And then there's some shows where I'm I don't know about this one. I feel like it's going to be a snoozer, or it's just not going to go over well. It's going to be weird. And they're some of the best shows I've done.
And they surprise you.
So you just have to take chances, especially if you want to be in a
say that one more time for the people in the back. I'm sorry.
You have to take chances in this world. You can't, and I don't care. That doesn't mean you have to put everything in your life on the line, but you can't be sitting around giving yourself reasons why you shouldn't try something, like especially if you have nothing to lose.
Exactly.
You know, if you have 0 subscribers and you're afraid to start a YouTube channel, you have nothing to lose because you still have 0 they don't give you negative subscribers. Yeah, people can't like negatively subscribe your YouTube channel and then like, you know, I guess people can like downvote your stuff or whatever, but that doesn't even matter. That's another thing, is that if you really care about what you do, like
opinions are irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly. You won't care what anybody else thinks. Like, obviously deep down, if you're doing something in entertainment, like you want people to like it, but people will like it if like you show that you're just being yourself and that you don't care, you know, that you're not worrying about that kind of stuff. Right. You know, like you just gotta stick to yourself and like believe in yourself and like do what you know you want to do, no matter like what anybody else says, because when like not only will you feel better about yourself for doing that, but like other people will recognize that, and that's when people will start to see like, oh, this person's the real deal. Because like if you start something and you're kind of like, you're not very confident about it and you're kind of like halfway in it, like, I don't know, like people will pick up on that. And yeah, people can sniff through your bullshit basically. You know,
it's like it's energy. People can read your energy. You know,
yeah, absolutely. If you're going on your podcast or you're doing your YouTube video and you're kind of like halfway in it, timid, or like if you're kind of ripping yourself, like there's nothing wrong with ripping yourself. Like you have to be humble and, you know, be able to see the humor in like your own faults and flaws. But like if you're on there saying like, yeah, I don't really know like if I like have what it takes to do this, like no, like you have to commit to what you do. I don't care if nobody's seen it, I don't care if it's brand new, I don't care if you think it's terrible. Like you have to, for it to be good, especially good in the future, like whatever you want to do with your life, like you have to be all in. You have
all in.
Yeah, exactly. You have to commit to it. Like I don't know if you've ever heard of I don't remember his name, but there was a motivational speaker who came in to speak to the New York Giants at one point, and he basically just told them like, you know, like, I mean, this is your life, right? Like y'all got here because you put everything on the line to make it to this league, and like just because you made it doesn't mean that your time for improvement is over, and like you can't just be kind of like, all right, I made it, I got my contract, but I'm gonna kind of, you know, just lollygag or whatever. Like no, like you have to be all into what you do. You know, you can't go 50%. You go 50% on something, chances are you're gonna put it to the wayside.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? And I mean, I've done that before because just I have a lot of interests, and like projects kind of like go to the wayside and they like whatever. But you'll find like whatever is your like baby, like your passion, your precious thing that you want to like water and, you know, feed and work on, like you know, a flower or a plant. Like you just got to keep slowly giving it time and effort and stay committed to it.
It'll grow. It
doesn't mean that you have to drop everything you do. I understand this is life. Like you might have a job that you don't like. Say you have a full-time job, and you're paying the bills, but you're miserable, you don't like it, and you want to start a passion project. It doesn't have to be all at once. You drop your job, you stop getting paid, and then you just try to make it. Like you're just gonna make it. Like no, that's not gonna happen.
It's gonna take time.
It's gonna take time, exactly, and consistency, really, because like maybe you're not recording a show every day like Joe Rogan, like 7 times a day,
right?
But maybe you record your show once a week, or even let's just say once a month. You know, even if you start out once a month and then move to once a week or something like that, like consistency is what'll pay off. You know, you have to get used to having that rhythm and that like how do I put it, like you like just like holding yourself accountable, because that's the thing. If you want to be in entertainment and like you want to be interested in this, unless you have like a contract with a entertainment company or something, like there's nobody else to hold you accountable. It's not like you're like, oh, my boss is gonna be on my ass. Like no, you're your boss.
It's only you.
You have to be you're the one who has to be down your neck, making sure you get stuff done and being disciplined enough to do that. You know.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
I mean, I understand it's hard out here for people, you know. But my message and like my point is that if you want to get something out there like done, and you have a project that you really want to do, it is possible. Like, and it might not it might not become the million subscriber YouTube channel, or it might not become like this like huge national business, but if you can carve out your piece of the pie and be happy with what you do every day,
exactly,
then you've won. You know, like you've won the battle.
Exactly. And that's like one thing for me is I want to look back and say like, yo, like I created something like of myself, you know, like I have this little thing. And to go back to what you were saying earlier, like you got to take those chances. And there was like a perfect example of a year ago. It was in April. It was coming on a year. It was back in April. It was pandemic just hit. Edge closed. I used to work at the Edge. I've had several artists on the show, like as you had yourself, and I would follow like all these different pages, and it's always about like platforming people, right? Especially if you're my guy or my family. I look at, I will platform and post wherever you want on my social medias. Like my social media is your social media. Long story short, there was an artist who had posted, "Hey, we want to sign an artist, tag an artist who's a freelancer." I was like, I have a podcast. I said, I'm gonna try and do what I can to get in touch with these people, and let's do like a joint show where I play music, you critique it live for audiences listening, and then you can pick a viewer or pick someone live on the show. I feel like that could be great exposure for you, for my show, So the artist was Dave East that I DM'd, and he responded back. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't expect you to respond back. It was like next day later he responds back. And we go over it. He's trying to ask how much money I have. I'm like, all right, well, listen, pandemic literally just hit. I lost my job. There is no income right now. It's any savings I have. So he puts me on the phone with his manager. His manager is talking to me. And this is like strike one where he tells me, like, Dave East can't do it. He doesn't want to do like an interview or anything. But I manage all these people. And he gives me a list. So I was like, all right, I'm still blinded because I'm like, all right, the manager's still talking to me, right? You know, we're still talking to the manager.
He's got you.
Right. So I'm thinking this is still real in a sense. I'm still talking to somebody. So like he puts me on, like he shows me like Don Q, Gilly the King, and Mano, people he's managing. I was like, okay, the people I really know, Don Q, Mano, and Gilly. And he was like, all right, cool. And you want to do a live stream, right? I said, yeah, it's supposed to be like, you guys are artists. You guys want to sign somebody. You critique the music on the live video. I'll play you songs, local artists. They're from the area. Like Gilly's from Philly. Mano's like from like New York or whatever, or something like that. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And you could pick somebody instead of having, why just have people get tagged who knows if you really hit them up, right? Do on the show, pick that one person. They're like, yo, well, they love the process. Like, who do you want to go with? I said, let's do Gilly the King and like Mano or something. It was the first two people I thought of. Should have done, like looking back, I also thought about doing Don Q, but whatever. It's besides the point.
Yeah.
Live stream dates are set and the times are set. At this point, he's telling me where to send the money at. We agreed on $1,500 or $3,000.
Oh, to pay them to come do the
pay
interview.
them. We agreed on $3,000, and I was like, all right, I feel like I'm gonna get scammed.
Yeah.
So, because like it got to the point where he was saying, all right, you guys send the money, you guys send the money, you guys send the money.
Yeah. He's like hounding you for it.
Yeah, I was like, well, dude, like nothing even happened yet. Like I can send like some of it now.
Yeah,
the rest later.
That's already a weird thing in itself. Like, because usually if you ask somebody to do a show, like I get it. Like if somebody's got a little more of a following and they feel like, oh well, like what is this? What's in it for me? Like I get that part of it, but it's also just about like usually the cool people that you'll meet and like the best guests and the best like people you'll have on are the ones who will just do your show to do it because because that's just what they love to do. And like they might. Sure, you might that guy might have like 100,000 followers or something. Like he might have enough of a fan base where he might not need to come on your show, you know?
Right.
But he does it because not only will it help his thing out a little bit, but it'll help you out. And like this kind of leads into a thought I've been thinking about a lot because I was just I just finished up reading Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep, I read that book.
By Robert Kiyosaki, and I think like one of the most important things in that book that is kind of true for anything in life is that in order to receive something you have to give. You know, and like people out there that are like stingy or that are like they'll do something but only if they want something or like only for like whatever, like they usually won't go far because it's the people that give and that show people that they're generous and that they care those are the people that if you look out for somebody, they're gonna look out for you.
Exactly.
You know, and like you build those relationships, and like it, you know, like I met Eddie and like we started talking, and then like somehow like I led me to you, and then like and now we're doing this show right now, you know. So like it just goes to show that like if you give generosity and like you and you do things for the right reasons, karma will come back and help you.
And
you know,
that's literally what karma did. It got to the point where it was like the day of, and we didn't even shoot, but he's trying to get all the money to everybody. And I was like, all right, dude, well, like my bank's not even letting me send money no more because it's declining for like this thing, like you know, where it says like, all right, you're exporting too much money, you're spending too much. It's like put me on a lock essentially. This is abnormal things from your activity or whatever.
They thought you were like somebody else or something.
Exactly. So he was like, all right, whatever, we'll just do it today and you can get the rest of me tomorrow. I was like, all right, cool. And then so it was supposed to be 6, I go with Mano, and 8 I go with Gilly on their live on 420.
Oh, like so on their Instagram live.
Yeah, like I'll go live with my podcast, go live with them, and I play the music. I reiterated the purpose of everything, the whole layout. He said they were all cool, they would love, they were ready for it. He put me on a FaceTime with Gilly and everything. Like, all right, now he made me feel more legit. Put me on a FaceTime with this guy. Now I know you're being for real. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, what could go wrong? Right? And then so he calls me at 3 o'clock. I'm just going for a casual walk, getting my head ready. This show is going to be good.
Yeah.
You know? And he's like, hey, Mano's ready to go live with you right now. I was like, whoa, it's 3 o'clock. We said 7 or whatever, 7 or 6 or 6, 6 and 8, I think. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, but you know, it's 420, man's gonna be smoking and drinking, you want to catch him now while he's sober because he's ready to go party and stuff. I was like, all right, dude, well, let me get home real quick, let me get ready. Even
though let's be real, like that is unprofessional from him, like you are still like you're still like giving the A-OK because like you're just being accommodating.
Exactly, because like at this point I'm on your time, so I get there, Matt Hell, it takes me like 10 minutes to get set up or whatever. I'm setting my computer, setting all like anything I can to get ready for this live that I was trying to already plan for while you called me. And Mano hops on the live. There's like 484 people watch. I remember that number exactly. 484 in the top right corner, and this is the first time Alex goes a fumble. Everybody, like the closest people, like in my corner, they're telling me, "Don't do it. Get your money back. Don't do it." I was like, "No, I'm too far in." I don't want to look back on this day and say, "What happens if I don't do this?" You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
So I was like, "I'm gonna do it. I believe in myself. I can hop on camera and on the fly
and just
hit it."
Yeah.
Alex didn't hit it on the fly.
It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen sometimes. Especially, it sucks when you set something up with somebody and like they kind of like string you around and you think the vibe's gonna be cool and you're like, all right, well, I'll just do it for it, and then like it's not even
exactly
like that. Yeah.
And it was 5 minutes into the live stream and I'm choked. I didn't choke, but you could probably see it on my face
that you were just nervous and you sounded nervous.
Exactly.
And like you're talking to like, you know, these guys are rappers and like they got their own like, you know, rappers got their own swag, and then they got a little bit every rapper's got a little bit of like, because I've never heard of these guys personally, but like every rapper's got a little bit of like that like ego complex, you know. And you're coming in and like, you know, like look at someone like Adam 22, like he can kind of like fit the bill and like whatever, kind of like fit into that thing. But like if you don't kind of like match that like that lifestyle or like that look, it can be hard to like get the dynamic going.
Exactly.
Especially depending on who you're talking to.
And dude, energy was never there, and that's like the biggest thing. And I always feel confident in myself, even if your energy doesn't match mine, we'll make it work. And from the minute he started talking, you knew that it seemed like this other guy was lying. What happened was this: I started to try ice breaking it.
Yeah.
Quarantine just hit, so I was like, "Oh, I hope everything's going good with you in quarantine." He's like, "It's cool, man. Everything's all right." I was like, "All right."
He said he's giving you nothing to work with.
Nothing to work with.
Yeah.
I was like, "Cool."
Yeah.
All right, Mano. And then within 3 minutes, he's like, "Yo, man, what even is this?" And I start seeing all the comments. There's 400 people watching at this time. Seeing the comments. Yo, what is this, man? Like, who is this clown? Who is this? And one
They're
person, like,
and
like, someone's like, who is this white dude? Like, I'm just watching the comments. And I said, look, man, you were on the phone call with your manager. You told me you want this to happen right now.
Oh, so now you're beefing, getting into it with him, which actually isn't even bad because now it's like kind of you know, at least you're being real, you know.
Exactly. I mean, I cut the live off like after I said my piece, because I didn't even think about going further into him. I was like, I wanted to be like, yo, like, you were on the phone, you
Yeah.
told him you wanted to do this right now,
Yeah.
and you guys are gonna act like you didn't know what it was. I shut the live down. I get off. My boy starts calling me. I ignore it. The manager calls me. He's like, yeah, what happened, man? What happened? I was like, yo, man, what happened with you? You told me he was ready. He knew the purpose, and he had no
Yeah.
energy for this. You told me he was excited. That was your
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
He's like, well, he's an OG. You need to know how to talk to OGs. You remember the song All
I'd be
the
like,
Above?
he's an OG asshole, bro. That's what I would say. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, that's true. Like, you know, you can act like you're bad or you do this. Like, yeah, look, like, you know, you're a rapper, you're bad, you fucking, you know, I don't know, like, you know how rappers talk about like, oh, like I've done this, I've done that, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah. People have done everything. Like, that doesn't give you a right to be a dick, you know,
Yeah.
because there's a lot bigger, better rappers out there that I bet would give you the time of day, you know. Same way how, like, I know it was more of a press thing, so there's more structure, but when you talk to Mike Evans isn't like, who is this fool, because like whatever, because you're just asking him questions, you know.
Exactly.
And personally, I mean, like, I guess those guys got some clout, they're popping off, but I've never heard of whoever those people are.
Yeah, I mean, you heard the song All the Above with T-Pain?
Yeah, I think so.
That was his song.
Okay.
So he had two hits in his career.
Yeah, so he's got a following, and like, I'm not trying to take anything away from what this guy does, because I'm sure he's got a good thing. But yeah, man, I mean, a word of advice, and like, I'm not an expert, because I'm still like, I'm in the same boat that you are. If you ask someone to do your show and they ask you to pay for it, don't do it.
Exactly.
Don't do it, because their heart's not in the right place. They're not doing it for the right reasons.
Exactly.
You know, because like, how do you think like I get it, sometimes you got to pay, it's a business, like, you know, to put people on and stuff, but you think when they were just starting rap and they were opening up for whoever at the John, like, that they're gonna pay like $15, a few grand to open up at a show, you know, like,
yeah,
like I would say in the like, and I know this is like and exactly like we said, growing pains, you know, this is your learning experience through that show. But yeah, man, like, I would say just in the future, keep like, you can tell when somebody's heart is in it for the right reasons, and especially when, like, I understand sometimes you have to talk to managers, but managers of people will usually kind of like cloud things, or like, because they're trying to set up the business deal, right? It's like a transactional relationship.
Yep.
Whereas like, if you can just reach out to that person on Instagram or something and get them to reply genuinely, usually, you know, like, all right, now they're actually like interested in it, you know?
Exactly. Because like, and that's, like you said, dude's growing pains. I look back, I don't regret what happened, especially when unemployment kicked in. I made 3x the money back, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, money comes and goes the way I look at it.
Yeah, money's a tool, man. Don't let it make or break you. You know, you're gonna make mistakes, things are gonna happen, but it's just about sticking to yourself. And like, I'm glad that, because I know it's hard when, like, basically, like, kind of like a comedian, basically you bombed, like you know, you went through like a bombing, but like, you held your own, you know, and you didn't let that person like kind of take like that interview from you, you know. Like you said your piece, and like, people understood like what was up, you know, like and I think that shows like some maturity, you know, because it's tough sometimes, especially when you're interviewing people and you're not right in front of them, because like, it's hard to get that connection when you just meet someone for the first time over the internet. It can be hard to get like that dynamic,
especially when they're prominent or they haven't established, like, he had 750,000 followers, 400 people in the live watching, you know. But you know, it's a learning curve, and the podcast's still here today. And the coolest thing I take from it, and I'll tell everybody, I got as soon as the live stream ended, 13 accounts followed me. And a dude hit me up who lives in Africa, sent me his SoundClouds and Spotify. And I was like, oh, like, what is this? I was like, is this like someone you want me to interview or something? And he was like, no, this is my music. And verbatim, I could show you the Instagram message if you really don't believe me. He goes, I want to be heard worldwide. I was like, wow, it's crazy. You saw me just on a live stream with this guy. So, and you see Prime Media, and you think I can be connected to get you where he was at or something. And I was like, that's wild. You don't even care how bad that went. You just followed, and you're here today.
Yeah, man. Which goes back to our point of how you need to take chances. You know, like, you took a chance and it paid off for you, because like you said, like, sometimes you're gonna take a loss. Sometimes you're gonna lose out on like money or something like that. but like if you can take a chance that'll lead to something good or just something important, or like even if it doesn't lead to anything good, like it'll be all right. Like
Right.
you just have to be able to push yourself and take chances. Like, and to me it sounds like if those guys had a negative mindset, or if they just had this thing where they were like, I don't want to do this, and they didn't put any energy into that interview, sounds like they're lost, man. Because I mean, I think you're gonna be like the next Adam 22 someday.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
And I don't even think you see it yet, but like as long as you stick with it and you keep it going, like it'll happen.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You just gotta stay determined, the same way I gotta stay determined.
Exactly.
The same way anybody, like our friend Eddie is out there playing for the Salina Liberty
in Missouri, Missouri, Kansas,
yeah, in the indoor football league. Same way he's got to stay determined, like because like it's the same thing. Like not a lot of people know about my show relatively. Not a lot of people know about your show relatively because they're new. Not yet. Exactly.
Ooh,
exactly. Not a lot of people know about like where Eddie's playing yet, but like if you just stay determined and stay on that grind and stay focused, they will. Exactly. And it might not be like, that's another thing that a comedian, Tom Segura, that I'm a big fan of, and I admire.
I have watched his work.
One thing he said in his last special that really resonated with me is that you have to accept that your dream might not be exactly how you imagined it. So like if you can do something that's in the field of what you're interested in and what you love, that's like something like that, like it'll kind of take its own shape, and you and like it's good to be happy with that, like sometimes things will work out exactly how you planned them, but most times they won't. So like it's a matter of just like, if you can like stay determined and keep working at it and just be happy with what you're doing, then then you've already won.
Exactly. And that's what I like to look at, is I constantly, like, when I get like, is like, I'm in this not alone, but I'm the only person doing this. And I don't really I feel like no one really cares about your problems per se, right? Because everyone has problems, right?
Yeah.
Like if I call my boy Bevent, he'll be there for me. Like he'll listen to me. But at the same time, it's like, yo, like I also like, I gotta pick myself up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No one else could do it for me.
Yeah, you gotta be there for yourself.
And like,
Absolutely.
no matter what happens, if I look and if someone says something about my podcast, because there's been people that slid up on my Snapchat before and said some smart things, whether they were kidding or not, I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I've had that thing where like people will like give you the smart comment, or they'll give you like the sarcastic comment, and then like 2 weeks later you see they're doing their own thing, and it's like, you were just talking shit, and now you're doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and now we're like cool, but it's like I think I try to give people the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
like I don't try to say like, oh, that guy's an asshole just because he said that asshole thing. I try to think of like what's behind that, like yeah, sure, somebody might have said something that's kind of like sarcastic or mean or like hurtful, messed up, whatever, but chances are it's because they feel like, oh, I don't feel vulnerable or confident enough to openly do my own thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I try to blow it off. And anytime I'll start to like feel bad about the podcast or anything like that, I just look back, like, you can't, like, look where you're coming from.
Yeah,
look where you've started, look where you're at now.
Exactly. And think
grinding.
about all the people you meet. That's the biggest thing, like, because we were talking about that last night on the show I was on. We were talking about like just like our motivations behind starting, and like why, like, and you could list a bunch of things, but I think the most important thing is like the relationships you make, and the people you really get to talk to, because like you might kind of, even if, especially not even so much with like we were strangers before this, right? So this is one thing, like you're making a relationship, you're making a friendship, but like when you meet somebody that you already know or you already think you know, but you actually get the chance to sit down and give them a platform to talk, you learn a lot, you know, and like I feel like it's helped me create deeper relationships with my friends. It's helped me make a lot of new friends, and like that's the way I think about it, because obviously it's like people could say, oh, it's networking, it's business, like the one dude from the podcast I did last night, like I know he didn't mean it in a malicious way, but because we were kind of talking about like Lil Nas X and how he's kind of like, people might describe him as a quote unquote clout chaser. Like he was like they were asking me about like why, like my motivations for doing podcasts, and this kind of came up, like the whole networking and everything. And he was like, oh, so like, you know, you're clout chasing. And I'm like, if you want to technically put it that way, I guess so, but like that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
Like, especially because like all of us, it's not like we're platforming like 1 million views. Like everyone's just starting out.
Exactly.
But that's why we got to stick together and like work together, you know? And also it just makes like, I don't see networking as like making, it's not like this isn't like corporate business world where like, oh, we can just like talk business and then like leave. Like I see it as like making friends, you know. And you can't do podcasts with people you're not friends with, or you're not at least friendly with.
100%.
You know?
And I can definitely, and I agree with that, because I could definitely see myself having you on again 100% in the future, or even like just chilling with you one day, as I did with Eddie. And if anything,
I want to have you on my show, definitely.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'll have you on the Eggcast for sure.
It's going to happen. I want to be there.
Yeah, it'll be great.
I love jumping out of my show and other people's shows. It's like, it's a great
that's
thing.
The best way to grow your podcast is by going on other people's podcasts. So, you know, that's why, I mean, obviously I just love doing this, but also like that's why I'm here. That's why I want to go do future shows, you know. And I think it's so awesome to see, like, because when I first started this, I'm thinking like, oh, there's no scene at all. Like there's no interest. People don't really want to do this. And then like as I have been learning more and more, I've been just finding people and being like, oh, they do this, like, you know. And it's kind of like, it's all gonna build into one thing. I think there's a lot of entertainment in New Jersey that people really don't think about.
And 100%,
it's gonna get put on the map.
And it's, once you don't, I've said it before, I said with people on my show, like Confident with #Elevated or MXL, or even the guy we're playing right now, Porta. Like, I feel like genuinely these guys will be something one day. And networking is key in anything you do, right? Like, think about it. Joe Rogan has Robert Downey Jr., Elon Musk, everywhere on his podcast.
He can meet these huge people now. And honestly, man, the biggest thing to do is just ask. Because you have...
Shoot the shot.
Yeah, exactly. Like we said earlier, you have nothing to lose. Like,
everything to gain.
You know, nothing to lose, everything to gain. And, like, the people... You, like, say you do a podcast, or you do, like... Or, you know, you do you're a musician and like you want to feature on a big musician's song or something like that. Like you're gonna ask, and like they might say no to you, but there's nothing, like if you're already like a small time thing, you really have nothing to lose, you know. Whereas like you might ask and like you think, oh, 10 times out of 10 they're gonna say no to me, but they actually reply and surprise you. And now you have an opportunity, and now you have a new friendship and connection, and it just keeps building and building, you know. And like that's the thing. I mean,
shout out Joseph Allen. Sorry, I had to get a shout out.
No problem.
Exact scenario what happened, but keep going.
I like, you just got to be able to take chances, man. Like whatever it is in life, you got to be able to take chances. And like, you know, I haven't done the show yet, but somebody who I'm kind of a fan of, nobody like super famous, but this guy Robbie Ripple, he's a tattoo artist. He was on a season of the show Ink Master that I really liked.
That show.
He's got like a little following, and like I reached out to him thinking, like, I just said like, hey, you know, try to be respectful, like, hey man, like I know you're busy, like I understand if this isn't something that you're interested in, but I just thought I'd ask you, you know, I do a podcast, like it would be cool to have you on and talk about stuff. And I was kind of expecting him to kind of blow it off or just not really see it and just be busy.
Right. Yeah.
And he got right back to me and was like, yeah man, that's awesome, like I love this kind of stuff, like I love to do it. And like, sure, like it's not like sure, like if you're just starting out, you don't want to reach out to like huge people, because obviously there's a conflict of interest where they're probably never even going to see it. Exactly. Yeah. But like if you want to, like if you start reaching out, like if you're a little fish, you're going to start out as a little fish in a little pond, and like once you become the big fish in that pond, it's time to move on.
Exactly.
You know, always try to, like, I always try to surround myself with people who like know more than me, and like just like second opinions, and people who are gonna, you know, who are gonna teach me to be better. And like even if they make me look stupid, you know, like it's kind of the same with like comedy. Like I don't have a ton of experience, I've only done it once, but like people talk about comedy, how like if you want to get better, you don't want to be the guy who's like, or the guy or girl who's like, I can't have anybody better than me go up before me because I have to be the best one in the show. You know, like, no, you want like healthy competition is important. You know, you want to tell those people, go up and try your best, like try to do as good as you can, because it's gonna make me have to be that much better.
Exactly.
You know,
push yourself to that limit.
Exactly.
And dude, that's literally where my networking is. I will talk to you if I don't care who you are. That's where it came from in the gym, where I'll just start talking to people, right? And this guy Joseph Allen, I'm not sure, are you familiar with AGT at all? America's Got Talent?
Yeah.
He was a contestant on America's Got Talent. He won the Golden Buzzer. He was on, like, he made like 2 rounds. Okay. He was a singer.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And I just commented on his page, yo, how many likes have you on my podcast? He responded back with 50. It's one thing he iterated on my show.
That's not even like that's achievable.
Exactly.
You know?
And he was such an open dude, such a nice, genuine guy compared to what I dealt with before. You know, he didn't rip my arm and leg off and say, yo, like those guys, they asked me for $3,000. He's not asking me for an arm and leg.
Which is ridiculous, because like if you're already popping off, but then you're going to be asking for like money for an interview. Yeah, and you know what, dude, like I said, like it's not even so much about like transaction as like this especially podcasting and interviewing and this whole medium, like it's all about love, man. It's all about, like you said, energy and love. And just like being like just being a good human and being there for each other, you know. And it creates these relationships. And like, yeah, if somebody and deep down, because if you really think about it, it'd be one thing. I would understand those guys if it was like, all right, we have to come to this studio and sit down and do something. Like I might understand the whole fee thing, but like,
if I'm asking you to promote it, you know?
If somebody's gonna charge you for if somebody's gonna charge you to sit on Instagram Live for like 5-10 minutes or something like that, it kind of goes to show like that, like they're not really, they don't care about that relationship. They're not valuing that relationship. And that's, dude, honestly, like, yeah, there's going to be big people that you're like, all right, like this will still be a good opportunity as far as numbers and stuff, but like that's not what you need, you know. At least I can say confidently, like I know that's not what my show's about, you know, and I know that's not what your show's about, you know, deep down, because like you have to be able to have that good relationship, and it really should just be about like good energy and love. And like the people are going to be able to tell if the energy is fake or it's staged or you're just trying to get through it. The people are going to be able to tell, and they're not going to like that. Like,
exactly.
Like there's podcasts about, you know, a million things. It doesn't really matter so much what it's about. I feel like when it comes to a podcast, what brings people in is like the relationship they build with the audience. And like you have to be your honest self, you know, unless you're playing a character that an audience really likes and they just want you to be this character or something. You have to be your honest self.
Exactly. And it's one thing anyone could pick up, and even episodes when I watch in your show and stuff, you know, like, because it's one thing people look out for subliminally, whether they think about it or not. People are going to see that, and one of the first things they say when they turn it off or tell someone else about your show, or if you're watching an athlete play, is how you carried yourself as a person, you know.
Yeah,
and I'm sure if you've seen that.
Oh, here I got that.
There goes my phone.
Are you still recording?
Yeah, it was on Instagram Live, so it's like, cool. Trying to give
what's up, Instagram Live? Yeah,
yeah, we're live on the Instagram too. Gotta get all aspects, all eyes on John when we have people like this. In the studio.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, man, and like talking more, like, because I feel like we also need to talk about a lot of your experiences or stories. Like, is there any like big stories like you had so far within like I know you said you've been doing this for like what, 2 years now, right?
Yeah,
like what are like some like real notable things like you've gotten done because of your podcast that you're like really proud of?
I would say something that I'm really proud of is just like seeing my little kind of local community and friends and people I know be interested in it, like because I know, like, look, I don't like if you look at my Instagram, John __ Egger, if you just look up John Egger, I don't have like this huge following. I'm still new. We
both are.
I wish I could have done more comedy like over the past year, but COVID hit and it kind of made it difficult. So I've been trying to get back out there with that. But really, if there's something I'm proud of, it's really the relationships and like rekindling like friendships with people. Like Livy's a good example of somebody who like is my good friend, but like I maybe not would have seen all the time if I wasn't doing this, you know. And it kind of brings like it had brought people back into my life that I hadn't seen. It's brought like new people, and I've made like new friends and connections, and I think that's probably what I'm most proud of. And on top of that, probably just like my own little community, like being into it and supporting it, you know, because I didn't really know how people would like think about it, but I knew from the jump, I'm like, I don't care what people say, like I don't care if the podcast eats shit, like I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna be all in with it, and like and like try to kind of embody it, and like see how people think that is, you know.
Right.
And like I've gotten like overwhelming support from just like friends and family, and like,
as you
know,
should.
I felt weird telling my mom and my family or whoever that I'm starting a podcast, because it's like, what, you know. But they support me, you know, and they like it. I had my grandmother on, which was a great experience. I want to do one with my grandfather soon, because he's got a lot of stories to tell from his life, and you know, I want to make sure he has the time of day to be able to like tell them, you know. And it's like, I feel like it's gotten me closer with the people that I do know, and it's really helped me just like
grow that.
More than anything, it's helped me come out of my shell, man. Because like we were talking about this earlier, like a lot of people will tell me like, oh man, like, you know, like, and I'm not trying to be cocky or anything, but like people have told me like, oh man, like you're such a natural talker, or like, oh, like you're a social butterfly. And like, I know myself, I know that sometimes I'm in a room and like I don't want to look at anybody, I don't want to talk to anybody, I'm just so nervous, and like I can get really anxious. And this is something that is like forced me to break
Open
out of
up.
my shell and be vulnerable. Like there's nothing more vulnerable, except for maybe doing it in front of a live audience, than straight up just talking, you know. Because it's not like, I'm not saying anybody's hiding doing this, because you do what you love to do. But if you have a guitar and you're playing music, it's like you're kind of just like playing that song. Or like if you're like an athlete, it's like you're showing off your skills like verbally through your actions, you know. But when you have to talk to people, you're kind of putting like your whole self and like your whole embodiment out there, and it's up to them to decide like how they feel. And people, I don't care how long you do it, how good or respected or well liked you are, like there's going to be people out there that always kind of like have a problem with who you are, what you're saying. And like, but the way I think about it is if nobody has a problem with what you're about or who you are, like, are you really like, are you really making a difference? Not saying that like super controversial people are like the people out there making a difference like all the time, but like,
I get it.
But yeah, exactly. Like if you have nothing that like, if nobody disagrees with you over anything, have you really fought for something?
You're not going to be the hero in everyone's book.
No,
you're not always the good guy.
Definitely, you know. And like there's, you know, everybody kind of, that's a funny thing about podcasting, everybody kind of has a different idea of what a podcast is. Some people think of it as, oh, it's just something that should be like I think it should have infinite, you know, like I don't think there should be rules, you know. But some people look at it as like, you know, it should just be something that's chill, where people talk and just kind of get things out naturally. And then some people think like it should be like something where like people, like since they're talking and talking to the masses, that people should be held to like a higher standard, and like they shouldn't say this or do that. And I really think at the end of the day, like no matter what entertainment you're in, but if we're talking specifically like podcasting, just do and say what makes you happy, and just like bring on the people and show the connection between the friends that you have or the new people you meet. Like just be genuine. I think if you're genuine, and as long as there's not something seriously wrong with you, you don't have like these crazy like hurtful or malicious views or something.
Right.
As long as you're being a genuine person and you show people you care, people will care back, you know,
facts.
essentially.
And that's one thing I've learned to, you know, keep seeing, and you just realize how many people start messing with you more, start like appreciating you more for who you are, and like follow what you do. You're a genuine person, I'll back what you do. You know, I'm sure you probably see the same thing with your podcast, and people are like, all right, cool, like I like you as a person, I'm gonna tune in to what you're doing and stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's all about building that.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome just to see that like that anyone cares, you know, let alone like a good handful of people, but it's just awesome to see it grow. I feel like every time I do a podcast with someone new, I see I can like kind of like, and that's another thing, like you're not always going to see like immediate rewards, like we were talking earlier about how everybody's obsessed with instant gratification, but you have to celebrate the small wins.
Small wins, baby.
With anything in life, but especially with something like this or something in entertainment or like something that's going to take time to build like a fan base and an audience, you have to be able to celebrate the little wins and like enjoy the little things, because like if you're gonna make life or make whatever in your mind all or nothing, chances are you're gonna end up with nothing, because that's not how life is. Life isn't all or nothing. It's like it's baby steps.
It's baby steps.
Little things at a time.
And you grow as you grow. And I believe your podcast is gonna grow because you're consistent. If not, you're more consistent than me, especially with putting out content and finding people, and you are more established in yourself, as in you're able to do a solo podcast.
I think you could do it, man. Episodes. I think you could do it. You just have to dig deep. I mean, like, you have to think about like the things that you really want to share, and like the solo shows, I almost kind of like them because like less people watch them, but that's almost kind of like where the most vulnerable stuff is, like where like the stuff about my life and like growing up with my family and kind of like my like wounds and stuff like that, like that's kind of where it all comes out. Even if I'm just trying to talk about whatever, like it just seems like that's kind of where it all comes out. And like oh, excuse me, I've been burping through this whole podcast. Hey, but
you're good.
But yeah, like that's the, like for me, telling those stories is what kind of makes it worth it, because like it's you at your most vulnerable state, and like it forces you to especially when you're by yourself, because like when you're by yourself, it's hard to do like small talk how it can be with other people, where you just kind of talk about current events or this guy in the news or Barstool, like whatever people talk about. Like, you know, like when you're by yourself, it kind of forces you to go into your own thoughts and your own experiences and tell your own stories. And I feel like that is something that's helping me become a better podcaster and entertainer, and and it's really helped me go along. And I think you could do it too, man. I don't think there's anything stopping you. You know?
I gotta dig deep. I know it was definitely a fear of me beforehand if I could or could not do it, and I see you doing it. I'm just like, that's how you know it's gonna be that much better for you, because you're already doing what a lot of people either can't do, or for example, for me, I'm not even doing it yet, you know? So you're showing there's nothing you can't do within this industry, which is why I think you got a ceiling, like that's all the way up there that you're still reaching for.
Hey man,
and you're ready to crash there.
We both do. We just gotta bust through it, you know?
Yes, sir.
And I know you said that you're not as consistent, but I don't think that's true, man, because you have a lot of different avenues. Like obviously you interviewed those people at you interviewed those athletes from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You've interviewed different people, and like from the stories that you've been telling me, you've been pushing yourself out of your comfort zone a lot. So, and I think that's really going to pay off someday for you. I think we're going to be just fine.
I think so too.
As long as we keep working. And you know what? And another big point is that, like, especially because we're young and we're kind of on the rise, trying to grow. Like, you have that feeling of like, you know, like everything will be worth it one day, or everything will be good, right? Like, I'm happy now, man.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm happy with my show now. Like, my show makes me happy. I love what I do, and
dude, you know, like if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be doing it right now, you know? Like, I think it's just great. Like, I look at it like I create my own thing. I got to do some things with it. I have my stories I could tell people, my future kids one day, and people now, you know? Like, it's something I love doing, and I love talking. I can't shut up, as you probably already figured out.
Me neither. So, like I said, I was the kid in class that, you know, I would undermine teachers' classes. They hated it, but you know, I would still make them laugh.
Exactly. So, exactly. And you can make everybody else laugh on your show and plug it in again. Tell the people where, especially the viewers watch on Instagram Live. Two people looks like.
Make sure if you're on Instagram right now, follow John Egger. You'll find all the information on there. But otherwise, Eggcast with John Egger. You can find it anywhere you find podcasts: Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, YouTube. We come out every Tuesday morning. Sometimes the schedule is subject to change, just depending on how life's going. But right now, every Tuesday morning, we got a new show. I've been kind of mixing it up, where 1 week I'll do a solo and 1 week I'll do a guest. That's subject to change as well. But yeah, you can find Eggcast with John Egger wherever. Subscribe to my YouTube. That's John Egger on YouTube. That's where they're all posted there. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on, man. This was a great show.
It's my pleasure, bud. And we're gonna have you on again. It's gonna keep coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have you. You're gonna be on my show.
Oh, absolutely.
Soon. We'll get it set up.
Hey, Eddie, shout out to you, Eddie. Because
shout out to Eddie.
Without Eddie, this probably doesn't happen. You know.
Exactly, dude. That's the power of networking and friendship.
Yeah.
You know?
Or another guy, cloud chasing. So no, yeah. I'm not firing no shots.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, whoops.
But it's all good. All right. But man, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yo, go show love. Go find John Edgar. You're at 50 subs now, I believe.
Yeah.
Let's hit that 100 mark.
Just hit 50. I think like right under 50. You're just hit 50 on YouTube. Let's get to that 100.
Let's get to that 100.
Let's just build up and just build something together. And like if you enjoy listening to this, check out my other shows. Like I'm never gonna be someone that I'm not. I'm gonna be right here and just be honest with y'all about my experiences. And I hope that me being honest about mine can help people get through and cope with theirs. You know? That's my mission, and like that's what I care about. So
exactly. Oh, we were just talking about Eddie. He's in the live stream.
Yo, that's my man. What's up, Eddie? What's going on? What's going on?
Shout out to you in your first game, my man.
Yeah, man, killing it out there.
Let's get John to the 100 subscriber. Let's get him to that 1,000 mark on Instagram. He's 20 followers away. Let's get him to the 1K club. So. Oh, the milestones are coming, baby.
Yeah, so baby steps. Celebrating the small wins. I hope someday I look back and I'll just laugh about the time that I celebrated over 1,000 subs. Or something.
Oh, you will. It is coming soon, my brother. And everyone watching, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be sure to follow John, his story, and all the rest of his episodes going on. Everything we posted in my description below. Be sure to find him on our Instagram when we tag him. Hit his link. Follow, subscribe, support small businesses, support local talent. Thank y'all, and I'll see you again.
Thank you guys. Peace.